I'd like to tell you a little story I had when I was interviewing for jobs, either my last year of college or my junior year of college. I graduated from a college in Poughkeepsie, Maris, which I've told you, but not to, in case some of you hadn't heard the video. It's up in Poughkeepsie, New York. A very large place up on Route South 9 was IBM. IBM employed probably close to 7,500 people. At that time, they had branches in Kingston, and this is all in the Hudson Valley, and then they built another one down in Fishkill. So they had many, many people. I know in the Poughkeepsie area where my dad worked, and sister and so on, um, the unemployment was something like 3%. They kept it that way for years. IBM was phenomenal for Dutchess County over the years. But to get back to my story, I was interviewing for a job. There was a job opening for systems engineer, computer salesman, I should say. So I went to a place on Fox Street in Poughkeepsie, and I met this man who was the sales manager for the district, and I interviewed with him. And everything went great. He answered his questions. I was dressed appropriately, eye contact. He said I was one of the best people he had ever seen come in. Very, very impressed. He said, but there's one thing we have to do is it's just a standard formality. We have to give you this 30-question test. And I am not a test taker. It's a test that train goes 30 miles an hour, smoke going this way and all that. Whatever. I'm just not a test taker. As many people are, and many people are. Some are not. I'm one of those that are not. Anyway, took the test, came back into his office. I'll never forget, he said to me, Mr. Sicali, I would hire you in 1 second. That's how good you are as a salesman. He said, but when I look at this test and I look at what I interviewed, it looks like two totally different people. I told him, I said, I am not a test taker. I freeze up on tests, whatever it is. I just draw a blank. And he said, for that, he said, I cannot hire you because we have this requirement. I understood. I got up. I shook his hand. A lot of people would have probably been discouraged at that point, but I never really got discouraged because I always was one of those believers and taught that when one door opens, one door closes, another door opens. And it's the way I've lived my life. I think through it I've been successful, or at least fairly successful. So with that, I went home, opened up the paper, and saw that there was a job for a salesman and paid like $100 a week. I thought about it and I said, my God, it's nothing. 4-year degree, whatever. I said, but I know me. I know the type of person I am. I know my sales ability and my liking for people. I'm going to give it a try. So I did. I went to the office. It was in Newburgh, New York, and I took a week of various educational courses regarding the business that I was going into, read books and so on. At the end of the week, I was put behind a desk, and I kept looking out. There were about 5, 6 people in the office, and I kept looking at this office that was in a corner, enclosed. It was the manager's office. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to get that office. I'm going to get that office sooner than you think. So I worked, and I worked. It was placing people, putting people to work. talking them into certain openings that we had gotten from companies, and my sending out qualified people to those companies. And when they were hired, I would receive a commission. Well, in my first month, I placed 7 people. The boss of the company was very impressed. The next month, I placed 6 people. The next month, I placed something like 7, 8 people. So in a matter of close to 3 months, I placed about 20-some people. He said, you continue doing this, you're going to be manager of the office. Well, at the end of the 4th month, I saw him go into the guy's office and he was packing his articles on his desk and putting them into his briefcase and so on. And the guy shook his hand, came into my office, and he said, Gabriel, he said, you're the new manager of the office. Why am I telling you that story? I'm telling you that story not for me. I'm telling you that story for you guys out there. Never give up. As I said, when one door closes, another door opens. Never give up. Believe in yourself. I always did. I used to have jobs where people did not want to give me what I thought I was worth, and I always said that I would sign a contract for them. That if in a 6-month period I didn't do what I said I was going to do, I'd give them their money back. I did that probably a half a dozen or more times with companies, and I never gave them a dime back because I did it. You can do it. You got to believe in yourself. From that office, in a matter of 1 year, I opened up 3 other offices. I had 4 offices in a matter of 1 year. I went from employing 3 people to 48 people. How did I do it? Hard work. Other people working 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. I was working 6 and 7 days a week, 10, 12, 14 hours a day. I didn't know what quit was. We had a national contest. There was about 45 officers in a group. I won the national contest. I was only with them about 6 months. At that time, prizes were televisions and all kinds of things like that at various levels when you produced. And I won almost everything. And I used to give them to my mother, and she would say, where is this coming from? I said, I want it, whatever. She'd be thrilled. And one time I won a rug for a living room. Gave it to her, part of the contest. Salad set, dish sets, another level. All different levels. Whatever it was to compete, I did. I think a lot of people out there say, I don't know if I can do it. Well, you don't know if you can try. If you try, you got to try. You got to try with your kids. You got to try with yourself. You got to try in your marriage. You got to try in life. That's all we really have is our ability to try. We get our education, whatever it is, whether it's a trade, whether it's a 4-year degree, whether it's a master or doctorate. You got to try if you want to excel. For what reason? I don't know. To maybe bring in more income, to feel better about yourself, to provide more for your family, provide more for your possibly vacations that you might want to go on or thought about and couldn't and now you can. Things like that. I have that never give up philosophy. If my videos are showing anything, they're showing people or trying to show people, never really give up. I know a lot of you do not. I know that many of you do. Many of you just feel that you've been dealt a bad hand. Well, I wasn't dealt a great hand. I wasn't a kid from money, but I made my way. I believed in myself and I just kept on going, one foot in front of the other. As I say to you over and over, with your children, Are we really teaching them a proper work ethic? Are we teaching them to get out of those rooms with those iPhones or whatever and possibly get a job? I don't care what it is, delivering paper, selling Kool-Aid on a corner, whatever it might be. Just the ability to work for themselves and bring money in for themselves. And then tell you about their stories over a dinner, over lunch, or them asking you questions, getting good eye contact, face to face. Interpersonal skills so important. When you go in for interviews, you don't want to look down at your shoes. You don't want to look down at the bottom of the desk in front of you. You want to look directly at the guy or gal in front of you. It shows you're strong. Behind your eyes lies a brain. You want to show that. Stand up in a seat. Put your back up against the back. Put your arm on the armrest. Stand forward in the chair. Be eager. Ask questions. They have a company. Find out about it. Ask them questions. You might find out they're interested. I went into a company one time in Greenwich, Connecticut, big law firm. At that time, I was selling large PBXs, private branch exchanges, large law firm on Greenwich Avenue, 100 plus lawyers. I happened to meet, because he was the one who was in charge of the money, the senior partner. I walked in the office, didn't know him, he didn't know me, but I noticed on the wall, he had a lot of pictures of boats. All kinds of sailing vessels. I knew my brother-in-law was a sailor at Michigan State, married my sister. We had gone out in his C-class boat, his little 12-footer sunfish, whatever they were called then. Taught me how to sail a little bit. Taught me some of the terms, whatever the case may be. The man came in, instead of talking about myself, I talked about him. People like to talk about themselves. They like to feel you're interested in them. I said, I see by the office your walls are filled with all kinds of sailing vessels. He says, oh, I love to sail. I said, do you? I didn't get into my sailing. It would be minuscule to him. I got into his. He said, oh, I've been sailing for about 30 years. I sail with so-and-so, and I'm Commodore of a yacht club here in Greenwich, and on and on and on and on. He asked me, do you do any sailing? Well, I'm the type of guy that reads and studies, and as I said, you should do. I said, yeah, I did some sunfish sailing when I was younger, the little guys, me in a boat. Had to duck down when I threw the mass over, and I did some Class C one time up in Boston, Massachusetts. He said, Class C is a very narrow ship. Well, they are. My brother-in-law sailed them. I didn't. But he thought that I did. Anyway, they were having the regatta, the America's Cup. He invited me. He said to me, 2 weeks is going to be the end of the regatta. I'd like you to be a guest aboard my yacht. What the hell did I know? I said, okay. He said, please bring a guest. And he said, the attire is white pants, blue jacket. All right. That was my message, and that was the yachtsman's wardrobe. So I had a blue jacket, got myself a pair of white pants, got some dock shoes, went up there, sitting on a deck. There was a banquet. People came over, the waiters, and served us on trays. We ate with our knees folded, and we ate whatever, shrimp and stuff. And lo and behold, at that time, America won the America's Cup. And the winner that year was Ted Turner. I think many of you may have heard of Ted Turner, TNT, and all the others. Large landowner and cable owner and television. He introduced Ted Turner to me. I thought about it for a second. I said, a kid from a farm, a kid that really doesn't know all that much about, but a kid that evidently made an impression on him to invite me and a lady friend, and then to introduce me like I was one of the guests to be introduced to the man that won the America's Cup. And he said, Mr. Scally, this is Ted Turner. Ted Turner, Mr. Scally. I said, congratulations, Mr. Turner. He says, thank you very much. Said a couple of words. He went on to the next person. My girl looked at me. I looked at her. She said, wow. I said, I don't know. I don't know what to say. It happens. It just happens. Life is very, very funny. When you at least expect, that's when things happen. And they've been happening throughout my life. I'm very fortunate. I've made my fortunes. I've been very, very fortunate. I came from nothing and I made something. I believe that each and every one of us have a chance, as I hope my videos inspire you to take that chance, to believe in yourself, to have those interpersonal skills, to use those technologies such as the computers and iPhones and iPads and whatever, but to really listen and talk to other people, make friends, talk to your children, find out about them, their children's friends. Let them ask you questions about you. Mom, interject what you're doing, what your daughter may be doing. Knock on her door. Talk to them. It'll come back to you in bountiful, bountiful ways. I can't explain it. But leave them to their own demise. You might be very, very surprised, or maybe not. But what you might have expected may not come to fruition. With a little bit of help from you to them, between your wife and yourself, between your family, your friends, between me, and anything that I can do to help you, to enlighten you, to show you there is a way. Through all the darkness, there is a way. You just cannot stop believing. If you believe in yourself, good things will happen. They may not happen on your schedule, but they will happen. I promise you that. If any of this has made sense to you, I would appreciate your continue watching a number of my videos. They're all different types. A lot of them related to motivation, a lot of them related to the upbringing that my father gave me and his Petisms that I show. All different forms. For a farm boy, I believe that God has given me a very, very, very beautiful life. One that he gave me, and partially one that I've made for myself. I thank you very, very much for listening. And again, I always say, if you question me, please write in. If you have questions, I'd like to hear them. If you'd like to talk to me one-on-one, I'd like to hear that. If you like, subscribe. Thank you very much. I look forward to my next video, and I hope you do too.